At this point, you may know me as someone who appreciates good quality marketing. And what's even more insulting about the Liberal Party of Canada and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, other than all of their terrible policies, the way that they have contempt for Canadians, is that they're not even good at marketing. All of their marketing material is such trash. They keep thinking that if they just say that, Pierre Poilievre is a bad guy, in videos or in social media posts, eventually, 20% of Canadians will swing towards them. Like, they have a 19 to 21 point polling gap underneath the Conservatives, and still, every single one of their social media posts trying to attack Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives is just kind of, really monotone whining. It's like they're going to try and cut programs that we put into place, and that's evil. That's basically fascism. And this one is no exception, where they have the Minister of Childcare, whatever, and Wellness. I don't even know who it is. It's like Families and Childcare Minister. Some person that you don't even need to know at all. They made a video of her doing this interview with some liberal hacky person where they're pretending to have a serious discussion, like they're both so worried about the Conservatives cutting $10 a day childcare, and we need to all pay attention, or this benefit that sucks and it's not actually getting anyone more childcare because it's actually disincentivizing people from going into that childcare business, that if we take away this benefit, the whole economy will fall apart, even though everything is terrible and they know it. Although, guys, remember, in the G7, supposedly right now, the Canadian economy is the best in the entire G7 if you only take into account GDP growth, which is a fake metric because our GDP per capita has been going down year after year for the past 4 or 5 years because the population is what is driving GDP upwards. But our actual productivity has remained pretty flat. It's been barely going up, but not enough to make it so that our per capita wealth is going up. But let's get to this video right here that the Liberal Party, who still has the Pride Progress colors on its profile, I do not know why. It's just because they're so progressive and they're just so tolerant and caring that they just couldn't possibly get rid of it. But in this post, they say Pierre Poilievre and his Conservatives would cut the programs that Canadian families rely on. I got to tell you, maybe it's because I don't know that many people with kids. I do not know that many people who utilize $10 a day childcare. Most people I've talked to think the program is terrible because a lot of daycares that they used to rely on are just basically selling off their buildings and leaving because there's just no way of making money anymore. And so the program that was supposed to make childcare more affordable for them has made childcare literally non-existent. But here we go.
So this is what keeps me up at night, right? As the Minister for Families and Children, Social Development, this is the question.
When we talk about childcare,
my goodness, did you see that little boom they did where like they're doing like a preview into this crazy interview where she's like, this is what really keeps me up at night, Paul. I don't know what this guy's name is. I don't know what her name is. I don't really care to look it up. This is what really keeps me up at night. And then she like opens her eyes like really wide to like kind of like make it clear that she's trying to be serious, but she doesn't have the acting ability to come off very concerned. She's like, this is what keeps me up at night, Paul. Thinking about the Conservatives taking away $10 childcare, that really makes me fearful to go to sleep at night, knowing that families could, have a terrible program taken away from them.
$10 a day childcare, this national food program, the childcare benefit. Are these programs at risk? Let's say if the Conservatives were to come into power next year. Like, what guarantee do families have that these programs will remain in place if the Conservatives were to win the next election?
Yeah.
Are we going to look into whether these programs are even working? We should investigate even the most basic questions as a journalist, as someone interviewing somebody, that, hey, how many people are utilizing the program? How much is the program costing taxpayers? How many more daycare? Like, why is it that certain provinces and certain daycare providers have been complaining about the program? No. It says $10 a day childcare in the program's name. We have a school food program or whatever. And because it simply says that we're doing good things in the title of the program, that means it is good. And yeah, this is not an interview. I don't even know what outlet this guy's with.
So this is what keeps me up at night, right? As the Minister for Families and Children, Social Development, this is the question. And this is, to me, what weighs on me. When I talk to families, when they share their struggles, when they share, the impact of the supports and the programs that we've been providing, the reality is that this could all be lost in a second. Every one of these programs, the Canada Child Benefit, the dental benefit, pharmacare, the National School Food Program, $10 a day childcare, Pierre Poilievre and his Conservatives have voted against every single one of these. So,
Okay. Was the economy and family life better before the Liberals came in or after? This is the actual questions people should be interrogating. Also, they have her mic so sensitive. It's so turned up for the sensitivity because she's like sitting there barely comatose. And so it's like really, really sensitive mic, and you can hear every like little like every little microscopic sound her mouth is making here. But this is not weighing on you. I guarantee not that many people are actually asking them, are the Conservatives going to take this away? Guys, the programs are fake in the first place. I want to go look up what's actually keeping this lady up at night. Still don't care to look up her name. It literally does not matter in any way. The childcare program, not everyone, if you poll it, will people be in favor of it? Sure. But that's because it's a good sounding program. But when it goes away and the economy gets better because the carbon tax goes away, a lot of other taxes get reduced, people won't care whether or not they're getting their Canada childcare benefit because they're going to have way more money anyways, and they're not going to have to rely on government subsidizing different sources. This is what actually keeps her up at night. The fact that the Conservatives are above them 19% in the polls. If all these programs were so popular, you'd think that people would be rallying to the side of the Liberals under threat that the programs might go away if a Conservative government comes in. It's almost like that's not what motivates people at all. The Liberals need to fire who's ever doing their communications work, in the sense that I hope they keep them because it's hilarious to me. All this stuff is the worst. All this is the worst marketing I've ever seen in my life. But you actually have to have a positive to market. Not simply just saying that your opponents are bad people because they're going to take something away. What's your accomplishment that people actually like that you're marketing here? It's basically just a cavalcade of alphabet type programs that they are not able to actually back up. They do good things, but simply just naming the programs. Because when they actually go through the enrollment rate of many of these programs, it's terrible. Nobody's going to sign. No, very few people have actually used dental, despite what they say, because a lot of dentists don't take universal dental insurance because it's barely paying them anything to do procedures that they could get far higher payouts with private insurance.
Imagine a world in which we are talking about families who are having a hard time making ends meet or getting ahead, where we see the cost of living has increased and these supports are taken away.
The supports were not present when Harper was prime minister. And guess what? People were better off. People literally had far better lives before all the programs came in. This is the bait and switch that happens with a lot of liberal policy, that they create a problem through mismanagement of the economy, through higher taxes, through chasing away energy projects, mining projects. And when a lot of jobs, when a lot of productivity dries up in the country and people fall on hard times, the Liberals come with a useless program that really doesn't do anything that great. Like, yes, some people will get benefits out of it, but they'd probably rather have a better paying job, pay less tax, all this stuff. And then they're saying, oh, imagine having to go through all this like this terribly difficult economy without these program supports. The program supports are only needed because of you guys. Like, here's another thing that they're using to try and like go after Poilievre. And it's always these like, this one really drives me up a wall. The Liberals say in this post, spot the difference. And under the picture of Justin Trudeau, it says, lifted over 650,000 children out of poverty with the Canada Child Benefit. They didn't. Poverty is higher than ever. We have food prices. We have like food bank usage is up. Is that only adults using the food banks? It's not. They have a stupid metric that, more kids than ever have access to the internet under our government compared to Harper's government. That means poverty is a thing of the past. Random other metrics they use, like access to affordable hygiene products in schools, access to school lunch programs. All these things were unnecessary when Harper was prime minister, but I guess in a technical sense, now there's a bunch of kids who are quote unquote lifted out of poverty if we just mess with the metrics enough. And, it goes $10 a day childcare, introduce the Canada dental plan, taking real climate change action, whatever. And then on pure Polye's side, it's like, voted against the Canada Child Benefit, called $10 a day childcare a slush fund, which it absolutely is, and it's going to go out to a lot of liberal-friendly childcare chains. That money is going to end up getting delivered to in large chunks. Voting against the Canadian Dental Care Plan, voting against climate action over 400 times, help raise the retirement age from 65 to 67. Yeah, okay. What's your point? The economy was better under the Conservatives. No, nobody is convinced by this stuff, because at the end of the day, people actually have to live life in material reality. And when things were better, they can tell. Just because there's more programs doesn't mean like, well, Harper only had 4 programs and the Liberals have 25 programs. That means my life is better. Not a single person thinks through that metric. This is just, it's like the Liberal Party has to figure out that the conventional wisdom of buying votes doesn't work anymore. Nobody is actually going to be swayed because you're going to target their region or their demographic group with extra benefits, because people know that they'd rather just spend their own money. We are very much in a freedom era where people are concerned about freedom issues. Can I do what I want? Can I get the job I want? Can I make the money I want? Can I move can I say what I want? All this stuff. That is what people care about after an 8-9 year period of time where it all had to do with what's the government going to do? What's the government going to let me say? Where's the government going to let me work? That's been the problem, and people want less of it. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. If you want to donate to my legal fund, it's out down in the description below. If you live in British Columbia, though, I'm currently out here in Abbotsford helping a candidate in Abbotsford South, Bruce Banman. So if you live in BC, I would urge you to donate $100 to his campaign, linked in the description below. You get 75% of the money that you give us back on your taxes. So $100 donation only costs $25. The only advantage the BC NDP and David Eby have over the Conservatives is purely the money. So if we can close that fundraising gap, the NDP are definitely going to be screwed here. Anyway, so if you're not in BC, maybe donate to my legal fund, maybe not, do whatever you want. And then you can also sign up on my website underneath, wyattclaypool.com, if you want local campaign updates for specific races that go on in your area of the country. If anything interesting is going on in your province, your city, or even just your specific riding, I have the ability to then send you guys emails and let you know about good candidates, good movements, good parties to get involved with in that area. And of course, share, like this video, share this video, subscribe, do all that great YouTube type stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.